I've recently returned from a nice little holiday to Tasmania and thought I'd share an awesome experience I had at the National Auto Museum located in Launceston, Tasmania. For those who don't know, Tasmania is a state of Australia, separated by an expanse of ocean called the Bass Strait. Access to Tasmania for mainland Australians is either by ferry or air flights, and many Australian motorcyclists take their motorcycles over on the ferry to take advantage of Tasmania's excellent tourist destinations and glorious winding roads. Touring Tasmania is not limited to Australians. I see international motorcyclists are also starting to make the pilgrimage, which is why I'm sharing my experience with you today. Whilst staying in Launceston, I had a few locals and visitors recommend the National Auto Museum. Although it wasn't on my list of Tassie destinations, I eventually relented and paid a visit. And boy, am I glad I did. I was thoroughly impressed with the range and the quality of the cars and motorcycles on display. Although I was primarily there for the motorcycles, seeing exceptional examples of the muscle cars we drove in our youth on show was a huge bonus, and for me, really made the day. I had my DSLR with me and spent a couple of hours snapping away. I'm not going to show every vehicle I saw that day, but rather give you a taste of some of the more interesting examples. There was one old motorcycle that really got me thinking, and upon seeing it in the flesh for the very first time, I suddenly understood what all the fuss was about. That bike is the Vincent Black Shadow. Recently, there's been online discussion about Indian copying Harley with the new Challenger, but as I began to study the design of the Black Shadow, I saw a couple of engineering features that have clearly inspired a host of modern-day manufacturers, including the recent suspension implementation fitted to Harley's new line of Softails. Originally, I thought the new Softail rear suspension design was inspired by the Kawasaki Vulcan S650. Who got the idea from the Ninja 650? Who got the idea from Biomotor? Well, you get the picture. But in reality, this rear suspension design dates way back to the 50s and the Vincent Black Shadow. Look at how the rear shocks are mounted. Look familiar? And take a good look at the front suspension. I can see how this setup could have inspired BMW's Telelever front end, and I can also see how Honda's new Goldwing could take inspiration from this design as well. Now this is from a bike that started production in 1948, and a bike that reportedly could hit 200 km per hour or 125 miles per hour straight off the showroom floor. Other notable examples at the Tasmania National Auto Museum were a 4-cylinder Indian, I had no idea this bike existed, and this 1936 Harley in original unrestored condition. The National Auto Museum is a not-for-profit organisation, which means every dollar goes back into running the museum, and the guys working there were most welcoming. Although, the cashier did ask if I had a seniors card, a benefits card held by Australians over 60. I quickly explained that I wasn't that old, but then, soberingly, realised, at 57, I'm not that far off. So if you're planning a trip to Tassie or Australia, definitely put the National Auto Museum located in Launceston, Tasmania on the map. If you're anything like me, you won't be disappointed.